Hello, friends. Good evening to all of you. I'm Sumit. Today, England lost to Ireland, and it was not on the cards, but rain, played its part. And thanks to the DLS method again, uh, you know, something very surprising happened, and England lost by 5 runs. So I'm going to talk about this method, which has come under scanner quite now and then, how it works, what is the philosophy behind it, and I'm also going to tell you how exactly the net run rate gets calculated, which is very easier to compute. If you compare with this with DLS, because for DLS, there's some data which is not available publicly. This particular this proper public this proper computer programming which goes behind this. So it's very easy to understand how net run rate gets calculated. So let me take that first. So last year when India was playing T20 World Cup again in UAE, there came a stage where I got so much interested that what if Afghanistan defeats Pakistan, then it would be then net run rate would play a very important part. So I started calculating net run rate of all the stakeholders, all those teams which were playing in that group, in that group. So it's very easy. So basically, let me give you an example. So suppose if India is in a group of 6 teams, including India, and India is going to play India is going to play against 5 teams. Then by the time this group stage gets over, India would have played 5 matches, right? So India's net run rate after 5 matches would be the number of runs scored by India divided by number of overs they have faced minus number of runs Indian bowlers conceded against those 5 teams divided by number of bowlers India bowled. Number of overs India bowled, right? So suppose so let me take a very crude example. Abhi India defeated Pakistan, and India scored 160 runs in 20 overs. वो टीवी में नजर आएगा कि वो आखिरी बॉल पे अश्विन ने चौका मार दिया था, वैसा हुआ नहीं था। और वो मुझे कैसे कंफर्म हुआ, क्योंकि मैंने जब नेट रन रेट कैलकुलेट किया तो वो टेबल की नेट रन रेट से मैच ही नहीं कर रहा था। तो मैंने दोबारा हॉटस्टार पे जाके देखा तो वो पूरा दिखाया नहीं है चौका जाते हुए। वो लग रहा था कि चौका चला गया, बट समटाइम्स क्या होता है कि समटाइम्स द आउटफील्ड इज क्वाइट स्लो। सो देयर वाज अ गुड चांस, राइट, कि वो बॉल बाउंड्री क्रॉस, मतलब गुड चांस क्या मतलब वो नहीं गई। अगर वो गई होती तो इंडिया का स्कोर 163 होता, लेकिन इफ़ यू सी इंडिया का स्कोर 160 है इन 20 ओवर्स। सो वो एक सिंगल अश्विन ने ले लिया था जब वो बॉल बाउंड्री की तरफ जा रही थी। सो इंडिया स्कोर 200 रन इन 20 ओवर्स प्लेइंग सेकंड. So India's number of runs, the number of runs scored by India so far is 200 divided by number of overs they have faced, that is 20, minus number of runs they have conceded, which is 159, divided by number of overs they have bowled, which is again 20, because Pakistan, we couldn't bowl out Pakistan before their full quota of overs, right? So they played full 20 overs. So it would be nothing but 8 minus 15.9 by 2, right? 7.2 ना, 7.95. So 8 minus 7.95, which is 0.05, which is exactly the net run rate India is having right now. And for Pakistan, it will be completely opposite, because like the number of runs which India have scored is exactly the number of runs their bowlers have conceded. So the equation would be opposite. So it would be minus 0.05 for Pakistan. Now, we are not yet done. There's a good catch. What if the team which is playing second, if their team gets bowled out, what if the team which is playing second, if they get bowled out in their second innings, then we would be considering the total number of overs they were allotted, right? So in this case it would be now, since this is not possible in case of India and Pakistan, right, because both the teams played full quota of overs, but this did not happen in case of Australia and New Zealand, which is why I got to know about this, because the way I calculated it, it was not matching with the net run rate of New Zealand, right? So New Zealand scored 200 runs in 20 overs. So their net run rate would be 200 divided by 20 minus number of runs they have conceded. They have conceded 111, because Australia got bowled out. Australia got bowled out, and they could score only 111 runs. ठीक है, 111. But they since they bowled out, they couldn't play full quota of overs. So it would not be triple one divided by 17.1666 because they played 17 overs in one ball, and one ball is nothing but 16.666 percentage of the one over, which is 0.1666. So it would not be triple one divided by 17.16666. It would be triple one divided by 20, because that's how the net run rate gets calculated. If you got bowled out, if you bowled out some team, you should be you should not I mean you should be rewarded for that, right? And the team which got bowled out, that team should be penalized. So that's why net run rate consider this as well. So if the team which is playing the second, if they get bowled out, still you are going to divide it by the total number of overs they were allotted when the innings got started. Okay, now let me talk about Duckworth-Lewis-Stern method. Now let me talk about Duckworth-Lewis method, Duckworth-Lewis-Stern method. So this has been in practice for many years. It comes into picture when rain interrupts the match. So if interrupts the match in between. So if rain interrupts the match before the first inning gets started, in that case it would not come into picture, because in that case both teams would be playing in same conditions. They would be knowing beforehand that, well, uh, now since the rain has interrupted the match, and they would have some picture in their mind. They know that what number of overs they are going to play. They have complete 10 wickets in their hand, right? Now I would imagine if team A, scores say only 75 runs in 10 overs, and then suddenly rain interrupts the match. In that case, if the match gets reduced to say 16 overs, then they would have only 6 overs to play in the first innings, team A. So suppose at the end of 16 overs they score say 130 runs. So the target for team B in 16 overs would not be 131. It would be more than that. Why? Because team A would have played little defensively. If they had they known that they would have only 16 overs to play, so they would have started playing aggressively little early. But now, since they got to know that rain has interrupted the match only after the end of 10 overs, so so that's the philosophy behind Duckworth-Lewis-Stern method, DLS method, that it considers the resources each team had right before the rain interrupted the match. So resources in terms of how many number of overs they had played at that time, and how many wickets they had in their hands. So this so if team A would have lost many wickets before the rain interrupting the match, in that case the target would not be very stiff for team B, right? But if team A would have had number of wickets, say they had only lost only one wicket at the end of 10 overs, and then rain interrupted the match, in that case the target would be quite high. So DLS method consider these two factors: overs and wickets at hand. These are the resources, right? And if a team A, if any team, if any team plays quite number of balls, or if they lose number of wickets, then the target would not be much for the team B. So it is like exponential function. Why we call exponential function? Because an exponential function is one such rare function whose nth order derivative is always positive. So x square का फर्स्ट डेरिवेटिव 2x होगा, सेकेंड ऑर्डर डेरिवेटिव उसका 2 होगा, और थर्ड ऑर्डर डेरिवेटिव 0 होगा. So it would increase at constant rate. ठीक है. बट एक्सपोनेंशियल जो फंक्शन होगा e की पावर x, उसका कोई भी nth ऑर्डर डेरिवेटिव निकालोगे, 99th ऑर्डर डेरिवेटिव निकालो, 200th ऑर्डर डेरिवेटिव निकालो, वो हमेशा पॉजिटिव होगा फॉर एनी पॉजिटिव वैल्यू ऑफ x. गेटिंग माय पॉइंट? तो इसलिए एक्सपोनेंशियल फंक्शन को हम बोलते हैं इट इज इंक्रीजिंग एट इंक्रीजिंग एट इंक्रीजिंग एट इंक्रीजिंग एट, कभी भी एट कॉन्स्टेंट रेट नहीं आएगा, इट कीप्स इंक्रीजिंग, राइट। इसका फंक्शन ऐसे होता है। तो ये चीज़ है। और so and one thing I forgot to tell you, in Duckworth-Lewis एक प्रोग्रामिंग होती है जिसमें इन सब चीज़ों को कंसिडर किया जाता है। सो वो प्रोग्रामिंग में पिछले 4 साल का डाटा कंसिडर किया जाता है। दे कंसिडर द डाटा ऑफ लास्ट 4 years, क्योंकि विद पैसेज ऑफ टाइम थिंग्स डू चेंज। अर्लियर डेज इट वाज वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू स्कोर हाई रन्स because the dimensions of ground were different, but nowadays dimensions have changed, or light beds have come, so many factors are at play. So they consider the data of last 4 year, data of international matches of last 4 year, and every year on 1st of July, new year, I mean that new year's data uh, gets added, and the last fourth year's data gets redundant and it gets removed from the data. And on that basis, the moment they give the inputs of how many overs the team has played and how many wickets they have at their hands, in their hands. So on the basis of such inputs, we get the target for the other team. So this programming considers the data of last 4 years. Okay, that's it. So today, England unfortunately lost to Ireland, and table A, has become quite open to. I mean, this table is quite difficult table because you have very good teams like New Zealand, Australia, Sri Lanka. In fact, Afghanistan. Afghanistan is a team against whom no team would really want to mess against with, because Afghanistan has surprised many teams in the past, and Ireland has defeated England, right? So Ireland is also quite a good team. Sri Lanka can surprise anyone. They have won the Asia Cup a few weeks ago. So table one, so much churning is expected to happen there. In table two, I'm expecting, I think India and Pakistan will get through, especially when South Africa has to share 1 point with Zimbabwe because the match got abandoned. And yes, one thing I forgot to tell you with respect to Duckworth-Lewis, to apply Duckworth-Lewis, minimum number of overs play should happen. So in case of T20, it is 5 overs, and in case of one day, in case of 50 overs format, it is 20 overs. So at least 5 overs game should be happened in case of T20. So that's what exactly happened in case of South Africa, when South Africa was chasing 64 runs in 9 overs, but I think they scored 51 or 7 overs. Sorry, they require, I think, 64 runs in 7 overs, and they scored 51 runs in 3 overs. But then raining started again, and 5 over match couldn't we couldn't witness the 5 over match. So the DLS method couldn't be applied, and the match got abandoned. So they have to share 1 point with the Zimbabwe, with whom they would have easily won, right? But every point does count. So considering that, considering the lethal bowling attack Pakistan team has, I believe that from table two, India and Pakistan are going to get through. But yeah, I mean, anything is possible. This is what I believe. And from table one, I feel that I think New Zealand and England are going to get through. Australia's chances have increased because England lost to Ireland, and New Zealand again shared 1 point with Afghanistan because that match has also been abandoned today. But even considering that fact, I still feel that New Zealand and England they have good chances because their teams are quite good enough, and England is probably the best team in the entire in this entire event. I would love to see England in the finals, England and Pakistan in the finals. I would love to see either India versus England or India versus Pakistan. But who knows? India may face England in semi-final if England, finishes their table with second position. because I'm assuming that India is going to finish our the table two with first position, and they'll be playing the uh, team which retains the second position in the table one. So quite interesting uh, equations we have in front of us. Let's see. Please comment if you have something extra to share, or if you find something wrong. I would love to hear from your side. Thank you so much for your precious time.